All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We are about to start building a gaming computer. Customer came in, said they wanted to do a build similar to the NZXT Player 2, I think it was. Let's see here. NZXT, yeah, the Player 2. And the only requirement that they had was that the build was white. So we went through, we ordered a bunch of parts, and I'll post a photo of the parts right here, and we'll quickly run through them all. We have ourselves an ROG Strix B550A Gaming. This, let me crack it open so you guys can get a good look at it. This is the closest thing I could get within reason to an all-white motherboard. It has the white accents on it. It's a good solid motherboard, good AMD motherboard. As you can see, we're going AMD on this build. Get that in there. I need to see, we have an M.2 screw. Yes, we do. Move that off. Sorry, and get back to the parts here. Just wanted to show that off a little bit so you guys could see that and you can see what we're working with here. We are building all of this in a Lian Li 011 Dynamic EVO White. We have a Ryzen 5, I believe this is the 5600X. It's a nice little processor. It's getting a Samsung 980 Pro 1TB. We have Corsair Vengeance Pro SL DDR4. We only went DDR4 on this build. We didn't go DDR5. We have our Asus 4070 Dual, the white edition. Our Corsair iQ H150i Elite Capellix XT. We got a TP-Link AX3000 Wi-Fi 6 PCI card, which I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna mount that guy up in there because I don't know if the case will support it. And a Corsair RM850 white edition. So let's get going. All right, so first things first, let's get these peels off of here. Keep this out. We're gonna have to do a lot of little peels. I'm gonna grab our CPU, get our CPU in there. Now this is a nice middle of the road gaming PC like CPU, 6-core, 12-thread, 4.6 max boost, 3.6 gigahertz base clock. Yeah, it's overall it gives you like some pretty decent performance for not a lot of money. This isn't the highest end, it's not the lowest end. So like I said, it's good middle of the road. We'll get that in there. I'm not going to use this cooler that this comes with. Also, I'm going to need to remove that. That. Yes, I'm quite sure, Emily. Tech is correct. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this cover here so we can install our NVMe. And yep, we're going to need to put our standoff in there. That's why I pulled this off. We're actually going to install both standoffs and screws in here so that if the customer ever wants to expand this, they can and they don't have to rely on trying to find where exactly these screws are. We're going to get some benchmarks at the end of this.
Hey, thanks for checking out this video. If you like these videos, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. It really, really helps the channel.
So in some ways, this actually is a little bit more performant than what they were going to get out of the NZXT one. I mean, they're going to get a much better case. They're getting I would say a better motherboard and CPU combo than what was in there. The video card is the same video card that was part of the build from the NZXT, so that is like a non-issue. And overall, I just think this is going to look a hell of a lot better than what you get out of it. So. So, all right, that's part one. Let's get this second one. And we're just going to go ahead and get that installed. That way, like I said, if the customer ever wants to come through and find this stuff, it's not out there, oh man, do I have another M.2? Leave the cover on there. Just right there, ready to go. All right, there's that. And let's go ahead and toss these two things in this box right away. Actually, that one's not going to fit, unfortunately. Go ahead and toss the memory in there. It's going to be a pretty sick looking build, I think. And remember, as always, your memory gets loaded into the second and fourth slot away from the CPU. Most manufacturers have adopted this style, but verify with your motherboard manufacturer's like instruction manual. All right, let's get this. Oh, now we got that off to the side. We get this off to the side. All right, let's do the cooler next. And we're gonna have to make sure we do. Oh shit. We got to do the AM4 install, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to install a little plate adapter. Okay, look at that, all white. Just go ahead and. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I like that. I can't wait for them to start including the Corsair link fans in here. Because that'd be nice. Just get everything lined up with their cooler. Alright. Alright, and that's for Intel. Don't need that. Threadripper 4. Don't need that. AMD AM4. And then just our general hardware. Alright, and as always, I like building this outside before installing it in the case, because the next thing we're about to crack open is going to be the case. So, have a good night, Emily. Alright, so as always, like I said, I like installing this outside of the case. This is going to be a top mount. So, it's going to be mounted like so. So from the front perspective, we're gonna put the fans on here. Cables going that way. So cables like that, and we're gonna have pull through. There you go. These out. All right, and as always, when we're installing these, you don't want to over tighten them. You want to have them just until they sink down into the rubber, and then you're good to stop. It's a little upsetting that like this cable is black, but I guess the theme is going to be black and white, and not just all white. All right, last two screws. All right, now this is ready to go. We're gonna leave that on there for now. We're gonna need to remove the metal bracket on there. I'll show you what that's about in a second. And then these get threaded into the motherboard, so let's go ahead and do that now. Well, not into the motherboard, into the bracket for the motherboard. So we're gonna take off this. Thread these guys onto there. Now these are double-sided. They can only go in there one way. You have a thin thread pitch on the top and a thicker thread pitch on the bottom. Thicker thread pitch is what threads into the AM4 socket adapter here. That, and we're nice and secure. So we're going to take these screws and these little brackets and toss them back in here. And then when I package the rest of this stuff up to go back into the box, it'll go in there. All right, so we're good with this for now. Let's set this all off to the side and unbox our behemoth of a case here. So the interesting thing about the 011 Dynamic EVO is it's extremely modular, and you can have it be left-handed, you can have it be right-handed. It's an interesting case. This will be the 4th or 5th build I've done in this case, and just generally I'm liking them. All right, so this is the exact same case I was just building in from Skytech, so we're pretty familiar with how to get all these panels off. Except for one thing that they did on the EVOs is they added a little retention screw. All right, so first things first, go ahead and get this lined up. You can see we're gonna have a lot of room up top for the, my brain just farted, for the actual radiator. All right, motherboard screws. Make sure that you follow the instruction of the motherboard, or not the motherboard, of the case manufacturer on which screws to install in the motherboard, because every manufacturer has a different thread pitch. You don't want to install the wrong thread pitch. All right, after we got the motherboard installed, let's go ahead and install our radiator into the top of the case. All right, so next we'll get this cooler lined up. You can kind of see it. As a reminder, if your radiator comes with washers, you need to use the washers. It's not optional. And try and use matching screws. I'm talking to you, iBuyPower. Is this actually necessary for like supporting the weight of this? No, not at all. Is it a good practice? Yes. It's like asking, does an engine block really need all of the screws or the bolts that hold the head on? Probably not. But I mean, if you don't want to have a head gasket leak. All right. If we got that, set this in here. And we just got to line this up. Those go in there like that. And then we go boop. Nice and easy. All right, so next part, let's give this a little rotate. You can see this is starting to look like a really, really fancy build. Now, we have our radiator going there. Gonna take that off. Take this off, take this off. Slide that on. That on there. So I always recommend with these, tightening these just a little bit more than hand tight. And then once they're threaded on there, screwing them down until your screwdriver cams out one time, and only one time. One cam. One cam. All right. Let's get some of these cables chopped off of here and start doing some cable management. That's one of the challenging things with this, is that getting cable management done on this actually can be a little bit of a chore, because like parts of this case are far more open than other parts. All right, let me start feeding these through up top. Should be able to see them coming through. There's that. And then these should go through the same place. All right, and then on the front side, tilt this so you guys can see a little bit, we have a specific, this is a pump specific fan header. It only has the single fan going in there. It's a signaling thing. Read the motherboard. There's usually a spot specifically for all-in-one pump. Like in this situation, it is all the way over here. So as far as cable management is concerned, let's see if I can. We're gonna do something a little fancy with this, just to hide that from the public view a little bit. I'm gonna go underneath there. Work it through. And then work right through there. And it is just a little too short, so that won't work. Oh yeah, well, just go like that. So, interesting little way to run that. So it goes under, and then it comes out underneath here. There is a little tension on it, but not enough for me to be worried about anything. And then this cable, which is the specific cable for the Corsair Commander Pro, we're going to run like that. We need to make sure we do not interrupt the connector for the power for the CPU. So what we're going to do is go like that, down in there. The clips are on the top, so we should be good. So this will actually hide quite well. I mean, once it's there, you can barely see it. Oh, there you go. Very few minimalistic cables so far. Doing good. All right, so let's start with a little bit of cable management. We're going to get the case cables plugged into the motherboard. All of the cables for the case are underneath this. We got 2 screws to take out. I don't remember what that's for. It's for removing that. Okay. So one of these screws is retained, the other one is not. All right, now our cables inside the case. They're using the dreaded Velcro, which you should use Velcro if you plan on doing any sort of modifications like short term. Otherwise, I prefer zip ties, but that's just me. All right, so what cables do we got here? This goes to an RGB header. This is your front panel connector. USB 3.0, USB-C, and front panel audio. Let's figure out what we're going to need here. All right, let's get this cable plugged in before someone else walks in. All right, we're gonna feed. Let's see, where are we looking at as far as connectors? This does not have a USB-C on it, which is fine. I kind of knew that going in. So we're not going to use that cable. Our audio cable is going to come up in the normal audio cable spot, which is going to be down here. Show you where to plug that in. This, our USB 3 cable. Our USB 3 cable is going to come in from here. Show you where to plug that in. And we're going to check. We got to get our front panel in there too. Our front panel is just going to go right over here. And we got to find a 3-pin RGB header, which there's one down here on the bottom as well. So all right, we're going to have cables coming out in a few different places, and I'll show you that. And this is the audio. Come out over there. And then this cable will not be used. All right, so first things first, we will get our USB 3 header plugged in. Make sure it's a nice tight loop, not too tight. You don't want to damage anything. Front panel, there's only one way this cable can go in, and it goes right there. This connector is going to go down here on the bottom. There is a white RGB header. It's a 3-pin. It can only go on there one way. 5-volt data and signal. I know that's confusing the way that's worded, but that's what they're called. It's a data and a signaling wire. And then our front panel header, which no one uses, goes all the way over here. Oh, and there's another peel on this motherboard that I missed. All right, so let's flip this back over. Now that we have all these cables plugged in, we can do a little bit of cable management. Let's move these guys out of the way. That'll be the next. Pull that back, and pull that back. So right now that's in the way. We're going to take these cables. Oh, we also need a SATA power, which I almost missed. This cable, because of where it's located, is going to go down all the way down here. This one we're going to do a loop. And I'll be right up there. And there we go. All right. He wants to... Friday or Monday? Yes, sir. Have a good one. All right, running this cable. All right, so now we got these all grouped together. And these are the problems I have with these little Velcro things. They're exceptionally good at what they do, but just getting them tight for me is always a problem. Maybe I'm not dexterous enough. All right, we got that. That. There we go. And there you go. So we have a nice little neat package as far as that's concerned. We have this cable held out. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and toss this in there. Seeing as we're not using it all, just have it follow the same general shape. That way it's there, it's just not being used. Okay, Velcro 2, and then finally Velcro 3. Yeah, it's already 4:30, damn. Alright, this build isn't getting done today. Okay, fan cables. All right, I'm gonna show you some stuff that I do for this. Let me back this camera out just a little bit. All right, when you end up with like Corsair stuff, you end up with these masses of cables. So one of the things that I like doing is once it comes out, there in this situation, there is a nice grommet hole right here. We're gonna put a zip tie through that grommet. Actually, we're gonna remove that, and then we're going to remove this thing that's not going to be used on this build, which is the hard drive rack. We'll put that plate back on, but the hard drive rack itself isn't going to be used. So I'm going to use that space for nothing. It's going to be a nice open slot right there. Looks like I'm doing this manually. There's 4 little Phillips head screws on the back here. And then we can just put this back on. Beautiful. All right, so back to what I was saying. I like taking a single zip tie, go into the first management hole. We take all of these cables, we kind of pinch them right here, and then we put a zip tie around all of them from underneath so that they all kind of want to go in the same direction. There we go. So now all these cables nice and cable managed. So now I can just do that, and I am dealing with like a single cable group instead of dealing with like masses of cables, and they're all going to the same place, and because they're all going to the Corsair Commander. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss a few zip ties on here to turn this into a cable, which is always fun. And this definitely helps with, you know, keeping the back of this looking pretty nice if you ever, you know, shove your head back here, even though you probably won't. There we go. Now, I'm going to grab our Corsair Commander. And I'm going to see here. There is enough room for me to squeeze this Corsair Commander in here while having these cables connected, because I'll still be able to use this slot here and this slot here for the power supply, and these cables that are on it have to run down here anyways, so be nice. All right, so we have, this is fan 1. It's our shortest. I'm gonna go there and there, and then we should have a medium length, 2 cables. Yep. One, 2. Doing cable management while you're building a PC, man, who would have thunk? And then we have, I ordered that additional set of 3 fans, which I'm unfortunately going to eat the cost of. And I have 3 more slots. So now, without going absolutely too crazy, we will pull this back a little bit. Pull this back a little bit. We don't want to over tighten these. He's going for the all Asus build. All right. And here we go. Now this just sits right here. And this whole cable, quote unquote, can sit underneath here. And this will all be underneath this panel, because there's a panel that sits on this. And you'll never see any of it. Let's see if I can do this like old school style. Yeah, leave it connected. Leave that on there. And then this just needs to go around to the motherboard. Which we're going to plug this into the USB header right there. All right. And then we're going to need we're going to need SATA power and SATA power. All right. So I know it doesn't look very cable managed, but I promise that it is. We're just in a situation where we have some very long cables going in not a very long distance. All right, there we go. And this is looking mighty clean. We're going to use this Velcro thing again to hold this in place. Velcro feels so dirty. All right, next, let's go ahead and install that wireless card, because we are 85% the way there. So let's go ahead and get this Wi-Fi card installed. This is a Wi-Fi 6. It's not Wi-Fi 6E. They really need to come up with a better naming convention. And we have full size, and we're all, because, you all right? We got our 2 antennae. Can I? No. Okay. So we're gonna have to undo this cable tie that's on here. We're gonna go down here for this. Actually, we're gonna go one lower. We want to leave a lot of room for these 40 series cards. So whatever you gotta do to make sure that you're clearancing things correctly, just go ahead and do that. Come on, lift up. Doesn't want to lift up for some reason. Bruh, this thing is bent into here. when the fit is too good. This case has too much Riz. All right, plug in. This is an additional power cable. That is plugged in. We're going to cable manage by doing this. Grab go. All right, that's in there. Let's add put this back on. That is our Wi-Fi card. Next, I'm gonna grab our 4070 White Edition. This would be the perfect situation to have that vertical mount, but unfortunately it does not. This card looks clean though. I really, really love this. The way this looks, all the art they put on this. It's like the designer's like, huh, I get a blank canvas. So again, we're ending up with white power supply, and the benefit of a white power supply is that it comes with white cables. The downside to this is that they come with black connectors. All right, so let's quickly survey the connectors we're going to need. We're going to need our single PCI power up here. We're going to need our 24 pin, or this is PCI power. This is our 12 volt for the CPU, and that's it. And we're going to need a single SATA cable. Oh, we got one. One CPU. And then I need my one GPU. It's hard to believe that underneath all of this, there is a Corsair Commander Pro. Yeah, I think that came out quite nicely. All right, let's do our obligatory first post. All right, look at that. Oh, that looks pretty nice. I like it. We got that. This is one of the cleanest builds I've ever done, as far as like everything color matching. And then, ooh, and then imagine it, there's going to be 3 more down here. Looks pretty good. All right, we got our fan air. We need to disable that. See what our cooling temperatures are. 28 degrees. What speed was this memory? I believe that memory is actually reading the correct speed, if I'm right. All right, let me take a look real quick. No, the frequency is supposed to be 3600, so it's not reading correctly. Let's get that updated. All right, so first we need to turn off the CPU fan speed monitor. So we're gonna ignore it. And then we need to adjust our memory speed. And what did I say it was? 32 or 31? I think it was 32, right? 36. Let's go all the way up to 36. All right, there we go. We got those going. Well, it's an AMD, so I don't think it has that, does it? I thought it was just there. We're going to turn on resizable bar. There's the DOCP. All right, see what this does. Look at this. Look at this. That's cool as hell. Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked that video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I stream daily on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpecVengeance. And yeah, if you want to learn more about my services, check out Bradenton PC Repair.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.